The SEC season is officially halfway over. How good is your baseball team, and who's got some ground to make up?
You're talking ball with the SEC squad. From Alabama to Tennessee, from Georgia to Oklahoma, from Auburn to Texas, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming SEC weekend. It's the SEC squad, and we have a seat for you. Hurt feelings and thin skin are prohibited. Squad up, you're part of the SEC squad.
Squad up indeed. Talking a little baseball, SEC baseball here on Locked On SEC Baseball Squad. I'm your host, Eric Kane of Locked On Vols, and we're going to talk about Tennessee to lead things off because why not, right? Locked On Vanderbilt's Corey Burton, Locked On Ole Miss, Stephen Willis, and Locked On Bama, Jimmy Stein. Glad to have you guys along for the ride. Appreciate you for joining us and making all of our shows your first listen, your first watch here, the number one sports podcasting network. That is the Locked On Podcast Network. I joke and all that. We'll talk balls. Look like a different ball club out there, but setting up a pretty intense showdown, Stephen Willis. Ole Miss, Tennessee this weekend. We'll get into that coming up later in the show, but Ole Miss sweeping LSU, something Tennessee didn't do 2 weeks ago. You had Bama coming down to earth a little bit, Arkansas swept Bama, and Vanderbilt falling 2-1 to Oklahoma, while Tennessee took 3 in Starkville to Mississippi State. So who wants to go first? I guess we'll start with Steven. Your team won pretty well this weekend. How did the Ole Miss Rebels do against the Tigers?
They played baseball. They were consistent in 26 of the 27 innings. The one inning that they weren't was almost a disaster on Sunday where they gave up 7 runs. They only gave up 12 for the whole weekend. They gave up 7 in one inning to allow a tie. They were able to win the game to get this sweep, but they just played consistent baseball. They put pressure on the other team on the base paths. They did different things to move the ball around and force college kids to make baseball plays. That is always going to be problematic. And let me say this real quick before we go. There might not be a more disappointing baseball team this year than LSU.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
They are almost the definition of front runners. Any adversity that hits, they completely cave and drop down. For 26 of the 27 innings, they were completely outmatched in Oxford, Mississippi. And this is an offense that has struggled. But against LSU, they were rolling and moving pretty good. Now Ole Miss is 8-7 in the SEC. If they do that again, they are a lock at hosting, and they might be a national seed by the time it's all said and done. 2 weeks ago, nobody thought that this was possible. But you take 2 out of 3 from Florida, you sweep LSU, and you get ready to go take on the Vols and their little Williamsport Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee.
LSU preseason top 10. I think their RPI is in the 70s.
Yeah, those tier 3 wins will kill you.
It cracks me up, the small baseball park jokes, when Vanderbilt's park is just as small, and there's other parks in the SEC that are just
I
as
call
small,
Georgia Williamsport.
What? Yeah, honestly, Georgia's field, the dimensions, the stadium setup before Tennessee added on, very similar to that of Lindsey Nelson.
Vanderbilt's going to move the walls back out and make it an actual.
Do they have the room?
But that's destroying my narrative here, man. So right now they moved him in. Okay, it's a small park.
They had to make room for the swinging scoreboard.
The pitchers at Georgia scrape their knuckles on the wall when they deliver pitches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, it feels like that.
It's basically a wiffle ball field.
I'll go next because Tennessee did have a big win, and 3 big wins really. And you're talking about LSU, and LSU just swept Tennessee. Or no, LSU did not sweep. Tennessee got 1 game. Sorry, there's been so many losses this season for Tennessee. They kind of jumbled together a little bit. It was in that swing where Tennessee dropped 2 consecutive series where they literally could have won every single game. And I'm not just talking about this. I mean, Corey can tell you Tennessee could have won every game at Vanderbilt. Didn't. They got swept. Tennessee could have won every game against LSU. Didn't happen. But it literally all came together this weekend. Like Josh Elander made every single move he made, every button he pressed in terms of pitching, defensive alignment, defensive positioning, defensive substitutions. They all worked. 2-out hitting was fantastic. Tennessee in the 3 games, 3 for 11 with 2 outs, 2 RBI on Friday, 5 for 13, 2-out hitting on Saturday with 2 RBI, and then 5 for 14 hitting with 2 outs on Sunday with 4 RBI. The situational hitting was fantastic. The bullpen combined to go 5 guys they threw in the bullpen, 10 in the third, 13 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 hit batter, 4 of the 5 relievers did not allow a run. The one reliever that did was the SEC Freshman of the Week in Cam Appenzeller, who was phenomenal. Again, it really kind of all came together for Tennessee. It went according to script, and that's not how baseball works. I understand that, but it's like everything that could go Tennessee's way this weekend went Tennessee's way, and you beat a really good team. I know they're sliding right now in Mississippi State, but you go on the road in Starkville, and in my opinion, gosh, if not one of the top 2-3 environments in all of college baseball, and you do that, it's pretty impressive. It just goes to show you, I guess, that Tennessee's always had the talent, man. It just hadn't put it together, and hopefully this will be a turning point for the Vols.
Yeah, you hope so. And I thought Vanderbilt was going to have that same turning point with when they swept Tennessee. I want you to did that, but the bullpen is falling apart. The starting pitching is falling apart between injuries, misevaluation, walks.
Hey, Corey, fix your mic, man.
Yeah,
Fix
your mic. Something's going on with your mic.
Sounds like you're talking in a barrel. So move it closer to your mouth or something.
Okay, is this any better?
Yeah, there we go.
Here we go. Yeah, microphones. Yeah, they work. I don't know if you heard any of what I just said.
Just reset it.
Okay, so Eric, I was hoping that Vanderbilt could get that, season turnaround when they swept Tennessee. I wasn't sure if you remember that happened, but I've noticed that the pitching has taken a massive step backwards. They have really dipped away, and it's just fallen apart between injuries, walks, and even figuring out how to throw over to first base without trying to throw it to the fans in the front row. And that's been a huge, huge problem for them. Hitting in clutch situations has been a huge problem. They've been able to mash the ball pretty good. They're second in the country in home runs, but none of that matters when you're losing games 13-11, or you give up 5 runs in the first inning without giving up more than 2 hits, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no doubt. This is a different looking Vanderbilt offense for the most part. Again, like you said, a lot of power, but again, having to rely on that power to just outshoot teams every single game, right? 11-12. That Sunday game, the win was howling that game against Tennessee. I mean, it was a 16-15 final, which is, even for Sunday in the SEC, that's pretty wild. Yeah. But Vanderbilt comes up short this weekend to Oklahoma, and then you got Alabama that, man, was hotter than arguably anybody in the country the last couple weekends. Came down to earth. Arkansas swept them. Jimmy, what went wrong for the Tide?
Well, yeah, a lot went wrong. The bullpen was really bad. The defense was bad. No clutch hitting. Alabama's huge star shortstop Justin LeBron had just a miserable opener. Basically 0 for 5 with a game-losing error that gave up 2 runs in the 8th inning. It was just a disastrous night for LeBron. But really, the weekend as a whole, guys, one of my favorite sports terms is market correction. This was a perfect market correction series in the sense that Alabama probably not quite as good as their record indicated. A good team, but not 8-4 in the SEC good, not winning 8 of 9 in the SEC good. Arkansas's better than their record. Arkansas better than, I think they entered the weekend 5-7 in the league, but this is one of the more gifted teams in the SEC. I just think this was the perfect market correction weekend. Alabama was due for a rough stretch, and Arkansas was due to win some games, and those two hooked up, and that's exactly what happened. Arkansas, I would say, to some extent, easily swept Alabama over the weekend. Does this mean, okay, Alabama's just bad? No. I think in the end, it's going to shake out to where Alabama's around a 500 team in this league. But everyone here knows that SEC baseball squad, a 500 team in this league is a really good baseball team. But all along, I think that's what Alabama's been. It's just been a wild where it's up and down. But the end result is 500, and now Alabama sits here at 8-7.
All likelihood, if you're a 500 team in SEC play, you're probably a game away from hosting a regional and 2 games away from being a lock. I mean, you're already in a regional, but I'm talking about hosting, being one of those top 16.
That's right.
Yeah, the crazy thing is that if you're ranked 4th in the SEC and you're ranked 11th in the SEC, any of those people could be finishing 4th at the end of the year when it all shakes out.
Yeah,
I mean they're that close. I mean, it's on a knife's edge in the Southeastern Conference. So if you're not like at the very tippy top of what's going on, if you're in that same thing that Tennessee and Ole Miss and Alabama and all of them, Arkansas, are in,
Somehow
any of those
Vanderbilt
could
still,
shake out any different direction. Yeah, Vanderbilt as well.
even though they're hustling backwards right now, and so is Mississippi State. But the trends can be flipped on its head. I mean, Vanderbilt has an important series at Kentucky, which I'm not sure who Kentucky is, but I know they play small ball. Maybe Vanderbilt could learn a few things up there about small ball, and then also their Bush League. So that might kind of be one of those things where they can galvanize and like sweep a team that gets under their skin and pisses them off. So who knows?
Very Bush League. I mean, Tennessee plays Kentucky every year. Obviously, I'm very familiar with that team. Very Bush League, but again, a team that's like, well, they were playing some pretty stout baseball. They've lost now 2 for sure. They've lost 2 series in a row, I think, or maybe 2 of the last 3. They're kind of sliding here lately. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Elsewhere around the league this past weekend, the 2 worst teams in the league, South Carolina and Missouri, it was the Gamecocks that swept the Tigers. South Carolina got 3 in that series. Florida got 2 games over Georgia, so Georgia falls. First time this year in a series loss, I believe. That's wow. Probably right. Florida gets them there. Mentioned Kentucky, Auburn back on track there, 2 games out of 3 against Kentucky. And then A&M. Now, we all waited around like all day long to see that finale for A&M and Texas, and ultimately that was just not in the cards. But A&M gets the 2-game sweep over Texas, and a nice little ovation there. I kid that. A nice little homecoming in a sense. Not really. A lot of booze and all that for Jim Schlossnagle when he went back to College Station.
Yeah, still impressive. A 1-game sweep at Texas is pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean that's a heck of a ball club they got over there, and I'm saying that because Alabama's headed there this weekend.
Yeah, their pitching staff is legitimate, really legit, and it's one of those things that you can look up and their starting pitcher has 45 pitches and it's in the 6th inning and you haven't done anything hitting the ball. I mean that is what they can do.
We'll continue the conversation. What's next on the docket for your favorite team? We'll take a look at the SEC standings and a postseason outlook. What does your team need to do in order to feel good about your chances of making a regional? I say this because Tennessee is very much on that line. We'll discuss when we return right here on the SEC Baseball Squad. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient, sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth and wondering if they really understand, they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade with Intuit TurboTax. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents, they get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar that you deserve while getting you real-time notifications as you go about your day. It surely is a relief to walk in and meet a real person and walk out knowing that your taxes are being handled the right way. You can do this today by heading on over to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment today. That is turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment today. FanDuel Sportsbook, the NBA playoffs are here.
I got it, man. Where every possession matters, every matchup is magnified, and every game can swing a series. I thought there was going to be 2-3 segments in this show for some reason. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a great way to get in on the action. Here's what I like about it. You can bet just $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. The app makes it so easy to follow the action with player stats, trends, and matchups all in one place. And during the playoffs, that extra insight really matters when you're looking at stars, role players, and key moments. It just makes the entire playoff experience that much more engaging from start to finish. And listen, if you're an Ole Miss fan watching this, you can get Trinidad Chambliss to win the Heisman Trophy for 10-1. That's the 3rd best betting odds out there. You can get Ole Miss 21-1 to win the national title. That's pretty good, about 11th or 12th at all. And the over-under for Ole Miss and their win total in football is 7.5. That feels like free money to me, but what do I know about that? So head to FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel, play your game.
We continue on here on the SEC Baseball Squad. We are officially over the halfway point of the SEC slate. I mean, that means we've been past the midway point of the season overall. But, SEC game, SEC slate, 30 games. We're 5 series in. We start that back half this weekend. So it is getting crunch time, right? So with that being said, I want to take a look at the SEC standings. Georgia's still at the top despite dropping a series to Florida this past weekend. 11-4 is that record. Texas and A&M are tied at 9-5 records, and I really wanted that game three, in the series before getting rained out to see if maybe Texas could pull back within a game, or pull ahead with a game. But 9-5 is the record there, tied second. Florida is fourth at 9-6. These are SEC records. Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, and Ole Miss are tied for fifth with 8-7 records. Kentucky, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt are tied for ninth with 7-8 records. And then you have LSU at 6-9, they're 14th. South Carolina 5-10 is 15th, and Missouri is 3-12, 16th. I think Tennessee's very much on that line right now. I would assume that Vanderbilt's probably on that line right now. Alabama's in at the tournament start of the day, and Ole Miss is in. Corey, how you feeling about Vanderbilt's chances? What does it need to do to make sure it secures a spot in a regional?
Well, they need to win way more games than they lose moving forward. That means sweep Kentucky. They got to take the series against Alabama, and they've got to sweep Missouri and South Carolina, which I think is actually possible. But these next two series, and also they have this team. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, Texas. Yeah, that's going to be tough. But they've got to win a hell of a lot of ball games here between now and then to make sure they get a spot in the regional, and they're going to have to figure out something with pitching because whatever's happening is not working, and they've got to calm down the walks and all that stuff. So
nice schedule though to get Missouri and South Carolina. Nice schedule.
Yeah, that's a good way to and those are the last two series of the season. So like if you have some things on the line there, like that, Missouri's a good team to get coming down the pike there if you're looking for important wins, and then South Carolina likely will have shut it down by then. So you hope that winning the last 6 conference games in a row can kind of get you over that hump, get you into a regional so you can keep up the nation's longest postseason streak and go be a sacrificial lamb as a 3 seed at UCLA.
You'll be a 2. If you get in, you'll be a 2 seed. Sorry, Stephen, what'd you say?
I said dynamite drop in, Monty.
Those broadcast classes are really starting to pay off.
Let's stay with Ole Miss. Ole Miss got an 8-7 record, still at number 25 in the standings, despite sweeping last week. Ole Miss was 25 last week too, right?
Yes, they did not move after sweeping LSU.
Yeah,
that tells you that D1 is considered LSU stinking more than Ole Miss sweeping. That's what was considered there, if nothing changed at all. Which, granted, they're a 75 RPI team. They're not particularly good, but that's still being said. Ole Miss 8-7 at the turn. Nobody in their wildest dreams had Ole Miss at that point. But if they can do this again, they're 16-14, and you're not just talking about hosting. You're talking about maybe slipping into that 8 seed and getting a home super regional potentially. And that's absolutely crazy. If Ole Miss can get 2 at Lindsey Nelson against Tennessee, and it's all of a sudden 10-8 with 4 seasons left to go, or 4 series left to go, they have more than a good chance of getting to 15 or 16 games and hosting a regional. And like I said, it's just crazy. Is when you looked at that midweek game at Memphis a couple of weeks ago when they got 4 hit and got beat by a 300 RPI team or whatever they were, I cannot imagine a much more lower feeling than that. To turn that around to in the 9th inning against Florida for a comeback win to beat the Florida Gators and take that series and stretch that into winning 4 the following week. Right now, they're pretty white hot. And if they can continue that on the road at Tennessee, it'll be really interesting to see where they go because they have some of the best arms, the starting pitching in the whole SEC. They're really good on the mound.
Tennessee 7-8 at the turn. It was 4-8, and so again, one weekend and things can just flip in a hurry, especially in this league. Tennessee jumped up 23 spots in the RPI count, so that really helped the Volunteers. I mean, even if you start to go back to struggling and everything and just play 500 ball the rest of the way, that RPI being in the top 30 is really going to help Tennessee. So again, I was talking before we got on air here. I was talking about the Tennessee Ole Miss series before last weekend started. I was like, 2 weeks from now, when Tennessee hosts Ole Miss, Tennessee's got to sweep. Like at home, like that's the team that's very kind of comparable. I know Ole Miss is better at the time than Tennessee, but it's like you got to sweep that series. Now Tennessee what it did at Starkville, and of course Ole Miss is so hot right now. If Tennessee wins that series, at minimum you're at 500 in the league play with 4 series left, and so you're feeling good about this Tennessee team. Again, need to handle business at home. You got Ole Miss, which is going to be a challenge. Then you have Alabama, which is going to be a challenge at Lindsey Nelson. Go on the road to Kentucky. Where's Kentucky at in this situation now? Losers of 2 of the last 3 series. Can you take 2 in Lexington? You've done it before pretty much on routine. Then you come back, you got Texas, which is going to be challenging, and then you're on the road at Oklahoma. So whereas Vanderbilt ends the season against South Carolina and Missouri, Tennessee ends the season with Texas and Oklahoma. A little bit more challenging. Tennessee's already played Missouri, by the way. Again, this past weekend was good. Tennessee's just got to continue to you got to take advantage of the home series. Certainly don't get swept on the road and kind of see where you are. If you're around 500 in league play, as we always talk about, you're a really good ball club. Plus, that RPI is really going to help Tennessee, and potentially, even if you're a game under, you're going to be, a couple games under. I think you're going to be okay. So, Alabama's sitting pretty. I know this weekend wasn't great, but Alabama's had a really good season to date. And what's coming up the rest of the season? How many more? Who else is on the docket this season?
Well, I mean, Texas is right in front of you, and what a series that's going to be. I mean, in terms of a barometer. Look, Alabama season, you can say it's inconsistent, but it's more inconsistent than that. It's really like not just a roller coaster, but a roller coaster that's on fire. Alabama's played 5 series, 4 of which have been sweeps. Alabama has swept 2 teams and been swept twice. They've only had 1 normal series, which was at Oklahoma, and they won 2 of 3, and that's why they're 1 game over 500 in the league. But the sweeps are just dizzying and nauseating. You feel you're on top of the world and everything's going great, and then you get swept, and it feels like, wait a minute, we're terrible. This isn't right. So what I think Alabama's got to do, guys, here on out these last 5 series, is a little bit of normalcy, a little bit of consistency. How about some 2-1 type series, and not either be great or terrible, but pretty good most of the time, because that's I think more of a comfortable level for anyone in this league. I think the goal at Texas is frankly just to win 1. I mean, you've been swept twice. It feels like a sweep going to Austin in the wrong direction. But Alabama's got some very good starting pitching. It's the one thing that's been consistent for them is the starting pitching. And Texas pitches it extremely well. I'm expecting some low-scoring games over there. Maybe you squeak out 1 game by half a run. But I think that'll be a fine. You would leave the weekend 500 in the league if you just win 1 of the 3.
That's what I was saying going to Starkville, man. I was like, if Tennessee can just get 1, then you win that game on Friday. You're like, hell, get the series, right? You get the series on Saturday. You're like, man, just playing with house money. Anything might as well win it, right? So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, the one thing you notice about Texas, I mean, they have more money than just about anybody else out there.
We do,
and they have an AstroTurf field. I mean, all over, and if anybody can grow grass, it should be the University of Texas out there. They should have one of the nicer facilities that you can have, but no, it looks like the old Sky Dome in like 1994 field turf.
Texas and the Dodgers have all the money.
I haven't seen their field, honestly, but they have the cutouts on the bases and then the all turf infield.
Yeah.
Oof. Let's call our shot out the door here. So, Jimmy, as you mentioned, you're at Texas. You think Texas gets 2? Is that what you're 2-1?
I'm going to predict. I'm going to predict Texas wins 2 of 3. That feels right to me. But again, Alabama's played in 5 series. 4 have been sweeps. Absolutely can't rule out a Texas sweep. You can't rule out an Alabama sweep. Alabama's very capable of beating anyone. They're just obviously capable of being swept, even at home.
Corey, did you say it's Kentucky this weekend?
It's Kentucky, and honestly, with the way things are looking for Vanderbilt, you're lucky to get 1 game, so that means that Kentucky's going to piss us off, and we're going to sweep them. That's probably what's going to happen. It's going to be the most inspired baseball outside of the Tennessee series that Vanderbilt's played all season long, thanks to Kentucky doing possibly some Bush League stuff. So, likely just get 1 game, but sweep is in play.
All right. The exercise here out the door. Corey and Jimmy, I want you to If Tennessee is going to take 2 of 3, or if Tennessee is going to win the series over Ole Miss, raise your hand. Anybody?
I can't raise my hand. I'm not allowed to.
I'm taking Ole Miss 2 out of 3. I'm taking
Come
Ole Miss
on, guys.
2 of 3.
Why? Why?
It's hard for me to say
Because-
that because we swept you.
Hey, if you're
Well,
coming off the Mississippi State sweep, you're not going to. I mean, 3-0 against Mississippi State. I don't know about
Like
2 out of 3
everything
against Ole Miss.
Again, everything went according to plan. I understand that's not how everything works, but like Tennessee played up to like its billing. Like it's been a top recruiting class year over year under Botello and Elander for the last like 5 years, and like it just hasn't lived up to the hype, and it finally did. Right? I mean, Corey saw the worst version of Tennessee that anybody could possibly see. I mean, it was so bad. So I honestly don't blame you for raising your hand, even if you are a Vanderbilt guy. I'm going to say Tennessee protects home. Feels rides the hot wave here, gets 2 out of 3, Steven, but I'm expecting a pretty good showdown, man.
Who do you have tonight?
UNC Asheville, the Mighty Bulldogs, for the second time. This is Tennessee's midweek slate is so bad they have to play the teams twice. So UNC Asheville.
We have tonight Southern Mississippi in Pearl.
Oof.
So it's another ambush. So, but the good news about it, and the reason I bring it up, is sometimes when you play these midweek games, you're going to play a team that's throwing a person that throws 77 to 83 mile an hour fastballs in the midweek and kind of mess up your timing. Southern Miss is going to give you top 25 arms from the field. So they're going to come into that Tennessee series potentially playing pretty well. So I'm going to stick to my rule. When you play a road SEC season or series, you want 1 game. If you play at home, you want 2 games. I'm going to say Ole Miss wins 1.
I'll take
Playing,
it.
playing Southern Miss in midweek's like a 4th SEC game in the week.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, they need 2-2 this week.
They
Yeah,
whacked
Tennessee better
Alabama.
beat up on them. All right, Tennessee better take advantage. We can all hate Lane Kiffin together, and then we'll get after it. Anybody want to talk about the LSU fan that punched the Ole Miss fan before we leave, or no? Anything?
If that was me and got punched and he was going after the wrong person, first of all, I'd be a millionaire, and second of all, he'd never be able to retire because of what was going to happen.
Hey, anything that hypes up the football game in September, that's going to be the most fun SEC football game of the year.
Right on that, Jim.
My cold open on Monday's Locked On Ole Miss podcast was Lane Kiffin as the James Franklin's of Brian Kelly's.
And then you said something like they're going to knock that out or something. Like you made reference to the punch. I think I heard that. Eric, did y'all play Lipscomb, right?
Haven't yet, but I don't think so.
Vandy's
They do.
Vandy's got the crosstown road game at Lipscomb today, actually.
Lipscomb's pretty good sometimes. I mean, I don't know anything about them this year, but some years Lipscomb's pretty good.
Yeah, they're kind of a fringe regional team usually.
Yeah,
I don't think they're on the schedule this year. Oh, they are. They're coming up April the 21st. So
who'd y'all start the season off with? I thought that was Lipscomb.
Tennessee, Nichols, and then they played UNC Asheville that first Tuesday.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
I could have sworn you played like Lipscomb or East Tennessee.
any small crappy team around here at Tennessee plays. We don't play anything exciting. We don't play the Virginia Techs or the Georgia Techs or Memphises or anything. We don't have fun in midweeks here. I hope Josh Elander changes that moving forward. All right, that's going to do it here for this edition of the SEC Baseball Squad. How's your team going to do this weekend? We'll see, and we'll discuss it all right back here on a Tuesday next week. This is the Baseball Squad.
Squad.
Dynamite drop in, Monty.